Hey guys, welcome to another video. Thanks for joining today. Today I wanted to talk about why older runners should choose cushioned rocker shoes over plated shoes for their daily training. In 2026 and in recent years, it has become an obsession with a lot of runners to use carbon fiber plated shoes, super shoes to give that pro level stiffness where you spring forward and are moving faster. The 4% increase in speed claims, but I think real often that is a mismatch with masters athletes. I'm not saying that masters athletes can't use them at all, but I think the majority of their training should probably be done without a carbon fiber plated shoe. There is a natural tendency in older runners to lose some of their fat pad, that it kind of atrophies over the years, and you lose a little bit of the body's natural shock absorption, making the harshness of the rigid carbon plate feel significantly more punishing on the metatarsals than it would for a younger runner. Non-plated rocker studies demonstrate that high stiffness plates require specific ground reaction forces that veteran runners often lack. In other words, to get something out of the plate, you have to put quite a bit of force in it. And a lot of us older runners don't really have the force to put into that plate to get the benefit. So the idea would be, by going with a softer shoe that is not carbon fiber plated, you're probably better supporting your preserving your structural integrity of your foot, as opposed to trying to force out that last little bit. Rigid plates can interfere with the natural metatarsal joint flexion, which can exacerbate age-related stiffness. So a lot of people get stiff feet as they age. And if you can't get the flexion in there to keep your joint working well, it can make it get worse. And of course, if you're not bending right through the foot and you start having metatarsal problems, it can work its way up the chain and cause more trouble up the body. The forced rigidity of plates combined with fat pad atrophy creates localized pressure joints that can increase the risk of stress reactions on forefoot landing for daily training. Again, I'm not saying you can't use them for race conditions. I just don't think it's a good idea to daily do that. You need to build the flexibility in your feet, or try to maintain the flexibility in your feet, and not cause the rigidness of a plate to force up into your body. There are studies now that show that if you want to get smooth transitions, you're probably going to be more effective using rocker technology. So have some rocker in your shoe. Have a cushioned shoe and rocker through to make it easier for your foot to transition and roll through than necessarily having a rigid plate. The rigid plate, because you're having to press down and load the plate, you're actually increasing Achilles tendon loads, which Achilles tendon injuries are not a good thing. So anyway, the newest foam iterations like PIBA and ATPU and things like that use vertical oscillation dispersion to protect the feet suffering from fat pad atrophy. So they actually disperse that stuff from side to side and help your aging foot that doesn't have as much disbursement of cushioning on its own. So you don't really get that from the carbon fiber plate because it's hard and in place, and you don't have as much ability to disperse the stress that comes from hitting your feet. A rocker sole paired with high stack foam, it reduces the work of the ankle joint and muscles, more effective than a stiff insert. Non-plated trainers provide a stable bottomless landing that neutralizes impact shocks before they reach the knees and hips, providing us for a safer environment for recovery and for every day, letting you recover from day to day. Whereas you might gain 4% efficiency for using a carbon fiber plate, I think you're going to come out better using your daily miles in a cushioned daily rocker shoe, because your inflammation recovery time is going to be so much better, and you're probably going to gain more than 4% by not losing the recovery time that you might lose if you're using a carbon fiber plated shoe. By using a soft rocker shoe, you're managing your fat atrophy using the superior foam density that allows for a higher weekly volume, preventing that beat up feeling associated with rigid aggressive race shoes. Having a rocker design maintains efficient gait cycles and reduces oxygen cost while specifically managing Achilles tendon load to prevent overuse. Anyway, so to build out a really good rotation for veteran or older runners, I think it's better to use the cushioned rockered shoes for probably 90% of your miles. That they help assist with toe off without the metabolic cost of plate resistance. High volume cushioning is best defense against fat pad atrophy. In other words, it's allowing a disbursement from the foam as opposed to using the fat pad that is not there as much anymore. Anyway, so I just think as far as for long-term health and to keep yourself more fresh, that using non-plated cushioned shoes with a rocker is probably better than worrying about the fastest theoretical speed you can gain from using a carbon fiber plate. Again, I still think if you train every day or train the majority of your miles without a carbon fiber plate, there obviously is some little bit of advantage maybe using them for race day. Anyway, those are just my thoughts. I hope you found it interesting. If you liked the video, please consider hitting the thumbs up, the like button. If you're interested in any more of my content, please consider subscribing to my channel. And other than that, I hope you're having a wonderful day and keep moving.